Now, the other thing these poor people need are resources. It's a good thing that a lot of cities are placing public libraries in within the close vicinity of poor communities. But they need internet access, educational access. See, a lot of people, when you think about the Black Panthers, a lot of people think these were some violent, shoot 'em up, pop, 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 motherfuckers, whatever. My grandfather was a Panther. They started off to provide free meals and after school activities for the kids who are going to school on an empty stomach. I read about this school lunch shit. Why the fuck are kids paying for lunch? Why the fuck are kids paying for lunch? Every kid should come to school and get a nice warm breakfast and get a nice lunch and get a nice afternoon meal before they're sent off home. That is one way we could prevent child hunger in this nation. So we need to look at this. Human dignity, human life is far more important than any amount of money. And all of these evangelical Republicans, you need to go in the mirror and take a strong, long look at yourself and open your Bible and ask yourself, what was Jesus Christ about? Was he not the man that fed a multitude with 12 loaves of bread and 12 fish? Was he not a man that put himself out there in servitude of his fellow man? So how the fuck can you call yourself a Republican and an evangelical and you allow children to go hungry? You are hypocrites and you will rot in hell. And you know it. Or maybe you worship the devil. I don't know. Child care. That would alleviate the anxiety and stress on so many single mothers and fathers. To know I could drop my child off somewhere, my child will be well taken care of, and it's not going to kill me. We talk about immigrants, illegals, foreigners. We spit on them, right? The Muslim, the Chinese, the African, the Mexican. You know, I've been to other countries. I've been to Brazil. I've been to Uruguay. I've been to Chile. I've been to Peru. I've been to Argentina. I've been to Japan. I've been to China. I've been to the Philippines. I've been to Amsterdam. I've been to Kenya. I've been to Uganda. I've been to Jamaica. I've been to Mexico. And I've been to Alaska. When you go there as an arrogant, know-it-all American, they don't like you. When you go there as a visitor, curious, tell me about your country, about your culture, they welcome you. They welcome you. There was a German, I think it was Otto von Neumann, I think that was his name, a Nazi. At the end of World War II, the CIA kidnapped a bunch of Nazi scientists and smuggled them into the US via submarine. And those Nazi scientists were responsible for US space exploration. George Washington Carver, slave boy, had so many fucking patents. Slave boy. Advised Henry Ford on how to set up his assembly line. Slave boy. Charles Drew, black man. Whenever you get in an accident and you go to a hospital and they got blood over there that they could put into you, it's a black man that made that possible. I could talk about shit the Chinese, Japanese have created and contributed to this nation. Mexicans, white people, black people. No one fucking race holds dominion on contribution. So, to put forth this notion that foreigners, immigrants, are bad for this nation is to say you're dumb as shit. Because the only motherfuckers that could really say they're Americans are living on reservations right now. Native Americans, Indians we call them. We are all immigrants. And through that diversity, we gain strength. But here's the deal. Let's deal with these immigrants, right? Let's give them a path towards citizenship. If someone comes to this country and they get a graduate degree in a valuable skill like medicine, engineering, dentistry, pharmacology, business, come on, man. We want you to stay here. We don't want you going back to Nigeria. You got a PhD in nanotechnology? Come on, man. Come on. We want to keep you here so you could create some shit. And from that shit, we could create some jobs. So if an immigrant has successfully mastered a skill that is of value to this nation, automatically make them a permanent resident. Now, 4 years later, you're a citizen. If an immigrant comes to this country and starts a business and employs Americans, like many Iranians who happen to be venture capitalists in Silicon Valley are doing. If all these Mexicans come out here, and if you go to LA, a lot of them Mexicans got their own businesses. But so if all these Mexicans come out here and they start businesses, if all these Africans come out here and they start businesses, the Chinese, the Swiss, the Germans, and they start businesses and they're putting Americans to work, come on. We want them to stay. Stamp of approval. If they come in here and they invent something, and through that invention, they advance our society and advance business opportunities based on that invention, we want them to stay. If they're an investor, they're a real estate investor, they're a stock investor, they're a venture capitalist, we want them to stay. So we should not say no to immigration. What we should say is yes to immigration that is going to help advance the nation. And you could be an illegal immigrant, a refugee who crosses a border. You don't have no skills, no money, nothing. You can't fucking read or write English. That's cool. How old are you? I'm 27. All right. That's what we're going to do for you. 3 years. No, actually 2 years. We want you to master English. We're going to send you to classes, English classes. Once you've mastered English, we're going to give you another 2 years to get a GED. I'll provide resources for you. So in 4 years, you've mastered English, you've got a GED, you're no longer a strain on society. Now, we'll give you another 2 years to get an associate's degree. That's 6 years. If you do that within 6 years, we'll give you a conditional permanent residency. Then, after 2 years, we want to see that you've been working and making money and paying your taxes, whatever. If we see that, then we'll give you the full permanent residency. So in 8 years, you've made this individual independent and legal. We need to get rid of all the fucking noise. All these talking heads, MSNBC, Fox News, CNN, the radio shows, they dump us fucking shit because they say the same fucking things every fucking day. They're all about eliciting emotions. Emotions don't solve shit. Just ask women. Women are emotional and their lives are fucked up. Emotions don't solve shit. Reason and logic solves shit. We solve this problem. We take these illegals, we give them skills, and we make them contributors to society. Those who do it, we give them a time frame, 8 years, 6 years. If after that time frame and all the resources we've provided to you, you still haven't made any movement, then get the fuck out. We gave you a chance. You fucked up. Get the fuck out. It's that simple. Aside from that, there's a clause in the U.S. Constitution that states that one of the responsibilities of government is to provide for the general welfare of its citizens. That's what I propose, Mr. Sanders. And of course, I'm nobody, so you probably won't listen to me, but this is YouTube. I could talk shit all day. I don't give a fuck. Number one, a sick citizenry is a dependent citizenry. If I own a company and everyone calls in sick for a month, I'll be out of business. If everyone in this nation got sick for 6 months, this nation would be out of business. Why is the issue of health care such a big issue? It makes common sense that people have a right to be healthy. They have a right. It's not just a rich man that should be healthy. It's not just a man with a good job and good assurance that should be healthy. Even that poor man should be healthy. Because if that poor man isn't healthy, it makes it harder for that poor man to lift himself up and apply himself such that he may rise out of poverty. It's common sense. See, number one, you tackle the issue of health care costs. What the doctors are charging, the number of specialists that are being referred, what the pharmaceuticals are charging, what the insurance companies are charging. You dig into that and you root out the excess profits. And just there alone, I guarantee you will reduce the cost of healthcare by at least 30%. Now, how about the other 70? If Americans would get off their fat fucking asses, you go to Starbucks to get a cup of coffee, they have a fucking drive-through. They have a fucking drive-through at Starbucks. These motherfucking Americans are so goddamn lazy. They can't get their fat motherfucking asses out of a fucking car to go into a Starbucks, stand in a line for 7 minutes, order their little latte. They're that fucking lazy. They eat fast food all day, blah. Look, man, we could reduce the cost of health care just by reducing the need, the incident for health services by 50% if these Americans stopped stuffing their fucking mouths with everything that came across their eyes, got their lazy asses up, and learned how to walk half a mile a day, jog half a mile a day. It's lazy shit, motherfuckers. They get heart disease, they get hypertension, they get high blood pressure. Yes, there are those who are genetically disposed to that, but that's a minority. It's laziness is killing America. And when Michelle Obama came out and said, I want to get kids to be active, they laughed at that woman. Why? Because she was a black, strong woman. Fuck you, white boys. But provide free health care to those Americans who take care of their health, and subsidized health care to the lazy Americans. In reality, the Americans who take care of their health will only go in once or twice a year for a checkup. It's the lazy Americans that will go in for heart attacks and all that shit. So subsidize their health care so they're paying something. And free health care for those who take care of themselves. Infrastructure. That's just common sense. I don't even talk about that. Infrastructure. Reduce the pollutants in the ecology, in the water, in the air. These are things that the government should do for its citizens. Provide a fair justice system that also holds the police accountable so police don't think they're above the law. I hate to see a fucking cop park his car in a red zone when I can't do it. Why the fuck can't I tow that cop cars away? As a matter of fact, I'm gonna get a tow truck. When I get back to LA, I'm gonna get a tow truck. I'm gonna drive around. If I see LAPD or LA Sheriff parked in a red zone, I'll tow their fucking car and take it to an impound lot. Fuck you, bitch. You're not above the law. Fuck you. So hold the police accountable. If a police kills someone, if there's excessive violence, let that shit go to trial. Fuck that grand jury shit. And then security. Yes, yes. White people are still as racist as they've always been. Yes, many men still look at women as bitches that could be grabbed by the pussy. Yes, many Americans will look at Muslims and say, fuck you and your Allah. The black man should feel secure from racist harassment. The woman should feel secure from sexist harassment. That whatever ethnicity, you could be a Jew and a Muslim, whatever, should feel secure from ethnic harassment. That's what the government should give its citizens. And then the government should provide access to advancement opportunities for its citizens. Whether that means within corporate America, you make it difficult for black people or Asian people or Latino people or women to be passed over for promotions or raises. Whether that means you provide resources for that poor high school kid such that he could come to his poor neighborhood and go to the library and get access to the internet just like that rich kid can. All those things the government should provide to its citizens access to unfettered advancement opportunities. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is what the selfish motherfuckers always whine about. Now, the selfish motherfuckers are not necessarily Republican or Democrat or white. Any person who wants to throw a roadblock in the potential for advancement of another is selfish. Fuck them. But what they're going to talk about is this. Well, if you give free child care, if you give free college tuition, blah, 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 it's going to cost money, right? Let's take a smoke break. It's going to cost money. So let's look at that money situation. Another smoke break. Currently, the U.S. government obtains 90% of its revenue from taxation. About a little more from personal income taxation than corporate taxation. So, in a sense, it's a cost center. It's a cost center. I call it a cost center because when you study managerial accounting, you understand that a profit center incurs costs but also generates revenue. So if you're looking at the departments of a company, you have the sales department. Yeah, you got to pay the salesman commission, their expenses, but the salesmen generate revenue. You look at the operations or production department. If you have a warehouse, it's the warehouse. If you have a manufacturing plant, it's your plant, your assembly line, whatever. It incurs cost, but it produces a product, and the product can be sold for revenue. The U.S. government provides services, but rarely generates revenue from those services. So your policemen are paid off of the tax dollars. Your military is paid off of tax dollars, and so forth. Your EPA regulators, your diplomats, all government employees are paid off of tax dollars. Government employees are providing services to the citizens. In a way, you could equate those tax dollars to the fee that the citizens pay for those services. But here's a problem. If the service that I need is EMS, then my tax dollars going to fund police or the military are not where I want them to go. If I'm a big corporation operating in a dangerous part of the nation or the world, and the military presence provides me security to conduct my business in that part of the world, then my tax dollars going to the military is good for me. My tax dollars going to fund educational initiatives does not benefit me. So this is what I propose, Mr. Sanders. Number one, eliminate individual income taxes. Prior to 1913, Americans were not obliged to pay income taxes. The IRS Act of 1913 made that a mandate. The IRS Act of 1913 is unconstitutional because it was never ratified by 2/3 of the state legislatures. At the same time, I do not think it was passed by 2/3 of the Congress because I believe at that time the majority of the Congress was gone home for their Christmas recess.